Cleaning is probably the most important part of the whole espresso process. There's no point perfecting your technique if you're working on a dirty machine or with dirty equipment. And frankly for me, it's all about the surfaces that the coffee touches. So it's about your group handles, it's about your group heads, the baskets, the shower screens, the grinder. Everything the coffee comes into contact with will influence the flavour. A lot of people focus on the outside of the machine and say their machine's clean, but they don't worry too much about the inside. For me, I do the complete opposite. If the inside of the group heads, the inside of the group handles, if all that's immaculate, I don't mind if there are fingerprints on the outside of my machine. It's best to start the cleaning process with the group seal brush, where you scrub underneath the group head and inside around the rubber seal. That'll get rid of any loose coffee grinds up around there. So activate a little bit of water, put some water on the brush, and then just scrub around the inside of the group head to get any of that mess off. When back flushing your machine with water, you want to start with the blind filter. You replace the basket inside your group head, and then you rinse the inside with the blind filter. I like to just protect my hands a little bit with the cloth. Activate the water and just leave the group head loose, so the water is forced to clean out around the seal and around the shower screen. Once that water's running clean, then you're good. So I recommend water back flushing throughout the day, probably every couple of hours, depending on how busy you are, just to keep the inside of your group heads nice and clean. At the end of every day, once you've water flushed your group heads, it's time to chemical back flush. The chemical's going to get what the water can't get, and that's the coffee oils. So you want to put in about a third to half of a teaspoon into your blind filter. Then you want to drop some water before you insert it into the group head, and you'll see it start to become quite soapy and foam up. Then carefully insert the group handle into the group head, and that will start soaking the shower screen and the diffuser head, getting all that mess nice and loose so you can start flushing it through the machine. Once your chemical is soaked for about 30 seconds to a minute, you want to activate the manual pour button, and that will activate the water, and it will just push all the chemical through the pipes. Turn it on for about 10 seconds, and then turn it off for about 10 seconds, and this lets the chemical move back through the pipes. You want to do that about 5 to 10 times to really get out all that mess. Once you flush the chemical through the pipes, you want to open up the group handle just carefully and rinse out that chemical out of the group head and out of the blind filter. You want it to be absolutely clean now and just water. Once you've rinsed the group handle clear of the chemical, you want to slide it back into the group head, and now you just want to flush with water. You want to go on for 5 seconds and off for a couple of seconds. This should get rid of all the chemical that's now in the pipes. The chemical will get rid of the coffee, the water will get rid of the chemical, and you're back to clean. You want to do this about 5 to 10 times as well, really making sure all the chemical is gone, and that's how you want to leave your machine for the next morning. Once you've chemical cleaned your group heads, you want to clean out the baskets and the handles. So you want to remove the baskets from the group handles, and then you want to either soak them for 10 to 15 minutes in hot water and a little bit of chemical, or you can just give them a really good scrub, make sure they're clean. Now, the T3 machine that we're using does have Teflon coated handles, so they're actually black on the inside. Typically I say you want your group handles to be yellow or silver on the inside, but if they're Teflon, you want to make sure they stay black. Don't scrub them with anything harsh. If you're going to soak your group handles, you want to submerge them to just below the black handle. You don't want the handle inside hot water and chemical, because you'll start to damage the handle. And then you just soak them for 10 to 15 minutes. Once you're done soaking them, you want to give them a good scrub with a nice green scourer. But again, not the Teflon one. That should stay black. Give it a wipe with something like a damp cloth. But with the non-Teflon coated ones, a really good scrub on the inside with something harsh like a green scourer will get rid of the mess really easily, and you want to do that every single day. You don't want to see brown or black inside them. Now we're going to talk about the grinder and cleaning that. So let's assume you've got some beans left over in your grinder at the end of the day. You don't want to leave them in the hopper. So best thing to do, close the grinder slit, open up that screw at the back, and just store any excess beans in an airtight container overnight. With the grinder hopper, after you've emptied out the beans, you just want to get some paper towel. It doesn't have to be wet, but if the grinder is a bit dirty, you can make this damp. But just wiping out with a clean, dry paper towel is all you need to get the oils off the hopper. If you do this every day, it should stay clean. So that's the best way to do it. You don't need to put it in a dishwasher or use soap or hot water. After you've cleaned out your grinder hopper, get a pastry brush, grind out any remaining beans inside the blade. And then just use your brush, get everything back out of this chamber, and discard it. You don't want to use that tomorrow. Use the brush to clean around the grinder as well. Leave the space immaculate and leave it like that until the next day. So, milk jugs, it's really important to keep them extra clean as well. Milk is a breeding ground for bacteria, so you really want to make sure you're rinsing these throughout the day all the time. And at the end of the day, give them a really good scrub. Again, use a harsh green scourer. You want nothing but stainless steel inside your milk jugs all the time.